Hey everybody, so last night I saw The Kid, directed by Vincent D'Onofrio, starring Ethan Hawke, Dane DeHaan, Jake Schur, and Chris Pratt. This movie is only playing in 215 theaters nationwide, and I somewhat understand why. This is the directorial debut of Vincent D'Onofrio, and all respect to Mr. D'Onofrio. I love him on Daredevil, and he is one of my favorite character actors based off of what he did in Men in Black alone. But his camera work is weird and feels very amateur. And coming off a year, last year, where Bradley Cooper and Jonah Hill both made their directorial debuts, to go from two films that they directed that I thought were very great and directed very well, to this feels like a bit of a letdown. I think the action, well, okay, let me go back for a second. There are shaky cam in some scenes where I don't think it was intended to be shaky cam, and it feels very off-putting and very unsettling, if I may say. The action, for what there is cut very up close to the actors, to the point where you can't see what is going on, where everything that you want to see is going on off screen, just out of your own sight. And you can clearly tell blatantly when there is supposed to be a blood squib or a blood pack that is going off, that the actor will put something on, or you can see it in their pants or in their shirt that they were wearing a blood pack, and it's very revealing and very telling. The script, in my opinion, is fine. Unfortunately, the story tries to balance a somewhat biopic between explaining what happened to Billy the Kid in the last few months of his life, and the sheriff Pat Garrett, who ended up bringing him down, while at the same time interweaving a story of a young boy and his sister trying to run away from their uncle. And it feels very disjointed at times. It feels like a mashup of, let's say, peanut butter and jelly with mayo and banana, and it does not work very well. For the positives, I really enjoyed the acting for the most part. Emphasis on the most part. Ethan Hawke is a great actor, period. He does another great job in this movie, just like he has in previous movies. And Chris Pratt plays the villain for this movie, and he does a very convincing job as the villain. And I would like to see him in more villain roles like this. He didn't get a lot of screen time, but I bought who he was, and I bought his, for the most part, motivations and what he's doing, why he's doing what he's doing. It's still a little murky, it's still a little unclear, but I enjoyed that. I enjoyed his monologues and the way he was and his acting and the character he played. I would like to see him do more things like that. I think he could be a great villain like Henry Cavill was last year in Mission Impossible Fallout. Jake Schur, who plays the young boy Rio, this is his first acting role, at least listen to IMDb, and he does a phenomenal job. This really is his first acting role. He's not great, but he's not terrible. There are a few scenes where I thought he was a really good, genuine actor, and there were some scenes where you could tell he's just a kid actor. And that's unfortunate, because I feel like he did turn in a good performance for this movie. And, you know, Dane DeHaan is Dane DeHaan. I've never really been the biggest fan of his. He's just going out there being Dane. That's really all I can say for it. But I went into this movie only having heard of it about 3 or 4 days ago. It was the first time I ever heard of this movie, when I was watching something on YouTube about why is this movie not being advertised anywhere, why is it only in 250 theaters. And I can kind of understand why. I would overall say this is I don't want to say bad movie, but it kind of is. It falls very in the middle, where it could be good, it could be bad, depending on who you are. But I'm going to chalk this up more towards bad. I'm going to give a 5.7 out of 10. I was somewhat disappointed, and I really wasn't going into it having that high of expectations or really expecting all that much. 5.7 out of 10, and I'll probably be the only person I know who sees this movie probably ever.